There are moments in life that change everything. Moments that happen quietly, almost unnoticed. And yet, they can mean the difference between despair and survival. This episode is about one of those moments. It's about what happens when someone chooses to listen, really listen, and how that act, that small moment of compassion, can save a life. I've been on both sides of that moment. The one who needed someone to hear me, and the one who picked up the message when someone else was fighting to stay alive. And both of those experiences taught me something that no book, no degree, no training could ever teach. Sometimes the act of listening is the act of saving. When someone living with bipolar disorder hits that breaking point, when the world feels too loud, too much, too fast, the pain can become unbearable. And yet, it's rarely visible to anyone else. We get good at masking it, don't we? Smiling through the chaos, functioning through the pain. But what's unseen can still be deadly. Because when the noise in your head turns into silence, when you start to believe that nobody cares, that nobody will ever understand, that's when hope feels out of reach. I've been there more times than I wish I could admit. Sitting in that dark space, not because I wanted to die, but because I couldn't see how to keep living. And if you've ever been there too, I want you to know I understand that ache. That hollow feeling that builds in your chest. That fear that maybe you're broken too. Too much. Too complicated for anyone to handle. But here's the truth. I've learned through those moments. Even when the world feels like it's closing in, there's always hope hiding somewhere in the silence. And sometimes it shows up in the voice of someone who chooses to listen. That's why I believe advocacy is more than awareness or education. It's about being that voice on the other end of the message. It's about being willing to say, "You don't scare me. I can handle your truth. You matter." Because for someone who's struggling with suicidal thoughts, that might be the first time they've heard those words spoken with sincerity. If you're listening right now and you're in that place where you feel like no one sees you, where even asking for help feels impossible, please hear this. You are not a burden. You are not broken. You are not unlovable. You are fighting one of the hardest battles a person can face. And I am proud of you for being here, for listening, for breathing through another day. I want you to know my door is open. My email is open. My messages are open. You can reach me through I Am Hope in the Chaos on Instagram, Facebook, or email me directly at findhope@IamHopeInTheChaos.com. If you need someone who truly understands what this feels like, someone who knows those dark places firsthand, I'm here. Not to fix you, not to judge you, but to listen. Because I know what that lifeline feels like when someone actually cares. And sometimes that's the one thing that keeps us tethered to this world long enough to find our way back to light. If you ever feel your life is in imminent danger, please know that help is available right now. You can call or text 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Visit 988lifeline.org or call 911 for immediate emergency assistance. You are never alone, and help is always waiting. There's something sacred about those conversations. The kind where someone says, I don't know what to do anymore. And instead of trying to find the right advice, you simply say, I'm not going anywhere. That's what real advocacy looks like. It's presence. It's compassion. It's holding space for another person's storm. Because sometimes being heard is what brings someone back from the edge. I remember once getting a message from someone who said they didn't want to be here anymore. They didn't need a motivational quote. They didn't need to be told to think positive. They needed to be seen. So I listened. We talked. We cried. And somewhere in that conversation, they realized something. They still had a reason to stay. Not because I had magic words, but because they finally felt heard. Because they knew in that moment, they weren't alone. That's the power of listening. That's the power of connection. And that's the power of hope. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. But I am someone who has walked through the fire. And I know the way back to the light. And I can tell you, with every ounce of honesty in my heart, you are not beyond saving. You are not beyond hope. Even if all you can do right now is send a message, that's enough. Even if you can't find the right words, I'll still listen. We need more of this in the world. More people willing to pause and truly listen. More spaces where people can speak their truth without fear of being dismissed. Because when we choose to listen, we choose life. We choose compassion over indifference. And we create room for healing to begin. If you've been searching for hope and haven't found it, maybe hope isn't something you find all at once. Maybe it's something you build little by little through the people who show up when you least expect them. The ones who hold your hand through the chaos and whisper, you can make it through this. And maybe today, that person is me. And maybe tomorrow, that person will be you, helping someone else find their light. You see, that's what happens when we survive our own storms. We learn to guide others through theirs. And And that's what I believe advocacy really is. Love in action. So if you ever find yourself on either side of this story, the one who's struggling or the one who's listening, know this: you matter. Your presence matters. Your willingness to care matters. Because sometimes a life can be saved simply by listening. If you take one thing from today's episode, let it be this: you don't have to have all the answers to help someone. You just have to care enough to listen. And if you're the one who needs help right now, please reach out, message me, email me, talk to someone. Don't stay in the silence. And I promise you, the world is better with you in it. And always remember, there is hope in the chaos. If this podcast resonates with you, if it helps you feel a little more understood or a little less alone, please consider supporting it. I pour everything into these episodes: my time, my heart, and my truth. And your support truly keeps it going. You can make a one-time donation or become a monthly supporter on Ko-fi. Every dollar helps cover production costs, support future episodes, and allows me to continue creating and showing up with honesty and heart. Here's the link: ko-fi.com/I am hope in the chaos. That is ko-fi.com/I am hope in the chaos. You're not just supporting a podcast, you're supporting a lifeline for me and for others who need to hear these words. I am not a licensed therapist, medical provider, or mental health professional. The experiences, stories, and insights shared in this podcast are based solely on my own personal journey and lived experiences. This content is intended only for educational, inspirational, and support purposes. It is not a substitute for professional medical or mental health advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of a licensed mental health professional or healthcare provider regarding your mental health or medical conditions. If you are in crisis or experiencing an emergency, please contact emergency services immediately by calling 911 or reach out to the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by calling 988. You are not alone. You never were, and you never have to be. And remember, there is hope in the chaos.